He felt completely lost, like he was drifting in a sea of despair. His life had no direction, no purpose. Every day was a struggle, filled with bad choices and fleeting moments of pleasure. He was stuck in a cycle of self-destruction, unable to find a way out. Hardship and pain were all he knew. His childhood was a distant memory, filled with broken promises and abandonment. He learned to fend for himself, trust no one, and expect nothing but disappointment. And life delivered. His heart was heavy with regret, but he didn't know how to change. He was a prisoner of his past, haunted by his mistakes. He longed for something more, something real to believe in, but didn't know where to start. He was lost in the darkness, and the light seemed so far away. He began to seek solace in the teachings of Islam, hoping to find peace and guidance. Through prayer and reflection, he started to feel a glimmer of hope, a path illuminated by faith. From a young age, the streets had become his home, his playground, his teacher. They whispered tales of easy money and quick thrills, of power and respect earned through fear and intimidation. He listened, mesmerized by their allure, their promise of escape from the bleakness of his reality. He fell in with a crowd that mirrored the street's chaotic energy. They were his brothers in arms, his confidants, his partners in crime. Loyalty was paramount, unquestioning obedience the norm. He embraced the lifestyle, the adrenaline rush of each illicit act, the fleeting sense of belonging it provided. But the streets were a fickle master, their rewards always temporary. The thrill of the score was quickly replaced by the paranoia of being caught, the constant fear of looking over his shoulder. His conscience, though muffled, would occasionally surface, whispering warnings he chose to ignore. His life was a series of poor choices, each one leading him further down a path of destruction. Petty theft turned into more serious offenses, the stakes escalating with each passing day. He was in over his head, drowning in a sea of bad decisions, but he didn't know how to swim to shore. Yet deep within, the teachings of Islam he had once known began to resurface, offering a glimmer of hope and a path to redemption. The clang of the metal bars as they slammed shut behind him echoed the finality of his situation. He was trapped, caged like an animal, his freedom ripped away with brutal efficiency. The cold, stark reality of prison life washed over him, leaving him gasping for breath in an atmosphere thick with despair. Gone was the false bravado, the street-tough exterior he had so carefully cultivated. In its place, a raw vulnerability, a deep-seated fear he could no longer mask. The weight of his actions pressed down on him, suffocating him with guilt and remorse. Loneliness became his constant companion, a shadow that followed him down the dimly lit corridors and into the confines of his cramped cell. The other inmates, hardened by years of incarceration, offered little solace. Their eyes, reflecting years of pain and resentment, held no warmth, no understanding. He was adrift in a sea of lost souls, each one clinging to the wreckage of their past lives. The days bled into an endless cycle of monotony, punctuated only by the clanging of metal trays and the barked orders of the guards. Hope seemed like a distant memory, a cruel joke in a place where dreams went to die. Yet in the depths of his despair, he found solace in the teachings of Islam, turning to the Quran for guidance and strength. The words of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, echoed in his mind, reminding him that even in the darkest times, faith could be a beacon of hope. Through prayer, he began to find a sense of peace, a connection to something greater than himself, and a path to redemption. One day, a sound pierced the oppressive silence of the prison yard. It was a melody so haunting, so beautiful, that it stopped him in his tracks. He looked around, searching for the source. His curiosity piqued. The sound was coming from the prison chapel, a place he had always avoided. He had no use for religion, for faith. It had never offered him any comfort, any solace. But there was something about this sound, something that drew him in. He cautiously approached the chapel, his heart pounding in his chest. As he got closer, the sound became clearer, more distinct. It was the sound of a man reciting from the Quran, his voice filled with emotion, with passion. He had never heard anything like it before. It was as if the words themselves held a strange power, a resonance that vibrated deep within his soul. He stood there for what felt like hours, listening intently, mesmerized by the beauty of the recitation, the rhythm, the cadence. The sound washed over him, cleansing him, offering a glimmer of hope in the darkness. He learned that the beautiful recitation was from the Quran, the holy book of Islam, which Muslims believe to be the final revelation from God. Intrigued, he began to ask questions, seeking knowledge from the few Muslim inmates who seemed to possess a peace he desperately craved. Their answers, filled with compassion and understanding, resonated with him, reflecting the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He learned about the oneness of God, the importance of prayer, and the concept of submitting to a higher power as taught in Islam. For the first time in his life, he felt a sense of belonging, of purpose, as he embraced the faith. Embracing Islam was not without its challenges. The whispers and stares from other inmates, the occasional taunts and threats, tested his newfound faith. But he persevered, finding strength in prayer, in the community he found with his Muslim brothers, as encouraged in the Quran. He delved deeper into the teachings of Islam, finding solace and guidance in the words of the Quran. He learned about forgiveness, about mercy, and the importance of making amends for past mistakes, as emphasized in Islamic teachings. A sense of peace he had never known began to fill the void within him, replacing the anger and resentment he had carried for so long as he embraced the faith of Islam. The transformation was gradual but undeniable. The man who once found solace in anger now sought peace through prayer, embracing the teachings of Islam. The hands that once inflicted pain now reached out to help others, following the Prophet's example of compassion. He became a source of strength for his fellow inmates, offering guidance and support to those who were lost and struggling, inspired by the Quranic teachings. He shared his story openly, his vulnerability resonating with those who had also stumbled in the darkness, much like the stories of the prophets. He found purpose in teaching others about Islam, his passion for his newfound faith contagious, spreading the message of peace and unity. He organized study groups, led prayers, and became a beacon of hope in a place where hope was often in short supply, embodying the spirit of brotherhood. His anger subsided, replaced by a newfound patience and compassion, reflecting the virtues of Islamic teachings. The chains of his past no longer held him captive, as he embraced the freedom that faith in Allah provided. He had found freedom, not within the confines of the prison walls, but within the depths of his own soul, guided by the light of Islam. His journey from darkness to light, from a life of crime to one of faith, served as a beacon of hope for others. He proved that redemption was possible, even within the unforgiving walls of prison. His story became a testament to the transformative power of faith, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. He had found his purpose, not in the pursuit of worldly possessions or fleeting pleasures, but in his submission to Allah, in his dedication to helping others find their way. His life, once defined by darkness and despair, had become a testament to the illuminating power of faith, a beacon of hope in a world that so desperately needed it. He had found his purpose, and in doing so he inspired countless others to seek their own. If you're new here, subscribe and join our community where I share real stories of hope, healing, and transformation through Islam.